I'm gonna trim out the front of this built-in cabinet here for a new flat screen that's going to go in here. The old console, big console, and the old electronics and stuff been removed. There was a speaker inside of a filler piece on the top. We're going to reuse that. Um, there's the little speaker. That'll go in the bottom in a filler I got to make. It'll be up about 10 inches from the bottom or so. We'll get all the old hardware and stuff off of here. The electronics guy said he needs 5 inches from the front of the cabinet to the front of the filler panel that goes in here. So for this TV bracket that the TV mounts to, it's a full extension, all kinds of stuff comes on that. But we need some good framing for this thing to mount to. So I start by taking this little box out that the speaker was sitting on. I thought I'd just set that aside. Maybe I can reuse it. I don't know, but it's still got to go. Just set it aside. And then this bottom shelf, 3/4 inch shelf, I'm going to have to cut that back a little bit because I don't want my filler to be flush with the trim on either side. I want to set back about a quarter. A little reveal there is going to make it look nicer. So, and I want my filler to cover the front edge of that plywood shelf there. So, yeah, I'm going to have to trim it so I can get my filler piece down over top of that edge to cover that up. So I'll get that. It's a little crooked in here, but no biggie. We'll get it cut back and screwed down and all that stuff. So after I cut that, I got my little 3/4 filler tester piece here, and you can see it's back about an inch, which gives me like a 1/4 inch reveal there. It's going to look a lot nicer that way. So, and then screw it off to the cabinet. Below it, I just aimed for the sides of the cabinet rather than trying to hit the box. I just didn't want the screws to go too far and poke through into the cabinet or something. So, and then I got my marks here for where my stuff's going to go. The guy, like I said, the guy wanted 5 inches from the front of the cabinet to the front of the panel. So that's going to be 3/4. I got that marked, and then my framing will go behind that. I'm just going to use 2x4s, and then this is a template that come with the mounting bracket for the TV, and that's the center line, and those slots there are his. That's where the screws mount to those two slots, either one. So I got my initial framing pieces marked for the speaker that's got to sit on a little shelf between here to raise it up off the bottom. So I got my framing in here, got it all screwed down real good. Like I said, use the right size screws. You don't want to be poking through any of the other cabinets and stuff like that. Just keep this thing from moving. I aimed on the sides for the sides of the cabinet, and then just screwed everything off. So if you have to, this thing could be unscrewed and removed if you ever had to do something else. But so yeah, here's this template. You can see I got my initial framing covering most of that one hole, and then after I get my speaker mounted, I'll put some more framing in there, and just made a little reference mark where the top of the my filler piece needs to be. He gave me specific dimensions for the TV and whatever. So we'll get that speaker mounted there. Made a little shelf for it, just some 3/4 plywood, screwed it off real good, and then made sure it's not sticking out past the that shelf on the bottom, because I want my filler piece just to rest up against there so it's not flopping around or loose or anything, because it is a pretty good sized piece, the filler is. So yeah, this little shelf with a little kicker on the back so it doesn't vibrate off of there or whatever. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. It's got some rubber feet on it. And there you can see the extra framing I put on after I figured out where that speaker went. And that covers most of the mounting hole spaces. You should have no problem, hitting something solid there. So now that we're done with that, I'm going to work on the panel, the 3/4 panel. I got my framing on, the speaker where it needs to be, and just double checking everything. So I painted half a sheet of plywood and then trimmed it to fit after I got here. And the guy specifically wanted a 6x6 hole for some of his wires and junk. So I got it notched up around the cabinet and stuff. It just blackens it out. So if you ever do see behind the TV, if it's tilted or something, it doesn't look ugly. So we'll touch up all the paint and the screws and the cut holes. We'll touch that up with the paint. And then a couple of cleats on either side to, that'll be for screwing the filler piece. I got a couple little trim screws on the outside to mount that. So that's all painted black. And I got my trim panel cut to fit. Now I got to cut the hole for this speaker cover and I'll get that slid in there. And then stain and some poly and, you know, a little bit of work on the stain and got it all ready to go. So after he mounts his TV, it should cover that hole just perfect. So hope that helps.